Of course, all those whales need a lot of food, but it turns out their food supply is dwindling in many parts of the world.
That's right. Meteorologist Anthony Yanas is in the Weather Center to explain why. Anthony.
Right. And while whales are incredibly large, they rely on food that's at the bottom of the food chain. Phytoplankton and zooplankton are on the move in some parts of the world because of a warming ocean, but they're thriving near SoCal. If you've ever looked out over our SoCal waters and seen green, you saw life.
Phytoplankton are tiny plant-like organisms that are critical to life on Earth.
At the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, we got to see what most people can't. Phytoplankton in action. We put water from the ocean under a microscope. The phytoplankton are plants that drift in the water. The creatures you see swimming are zooplankton, and they eat the plants. One of the most well-known zooplankton is krill, and every filter-feeding whale in the ocean relies on those to survive. Here's why they're important. Just like any plant, phytoplankton captures the sun's energy and uses it as food. In that process, they absorb 40% of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. CO2 is the heat-trapping gas that is responsible for our Earth and ocean warming. They also produce 50% of the oxygen we breathe. But there's a problem.
Scientists have been monitoring phytoplankton since the 1950s, and they've discovered that the amount of phytoplankton in the global ocean is decreasing over time, which means that the ocean has less capacity to absorb the carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in our atmosphere.
A byproduct of a warming ocean is less oxygen in the water, so phytoplankton has had to adjust. In some parts of the world, phytoplankton has moved 250 miles north per decade, and zooplankton 60 miles north per decade.
If you have warmer waters, you're killing those phytoplankton. There's going to be less drawdown of that atmospheric CO2, which will just remain in our atmosphere, causing warmer temperatures in both the atmosphere and the oceans.
We went out a few miles west of Marina Del Rey with the LA Waterkeeper and measured the phytoplankton in our SoCal ocean. The process includes putting out this cylinder attached to a net and a 50-foot rope. We let it out 5 times and bring it in 5 times. The sample is then mailed to the California Department of Health Services. They've tracked phytoplankton levels for the past 50 years. And while we've only had minor changes near our California waters, worldwide, it's a different story.
So the future of our ocean's really in our hands. The future of food, energy, and water are decisions that we're making today that are going to impact tomorrow.
Now, for now, the biggest concern is how a warmer ocean is affecting the food chain. If there's less food at the base of the food chain, that'll eventually affect the 1 billion people who rely on fish as their primary source of protein.
Yeah, it's all interconnected, isn't it?
Anthony, thank you. Interesting stuff.